Hey guys, today we'll be talking on PlayerCollision. We'll be using the player's collider to make things happen with our code. Yes, so we'll be linking the colliders with our code to make things happen. So we'll be looking at how to get the fact that they collided in our code. Yes, so let's get right into it. Before we move on, thank you for everything. Thank you for the support. Thank you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you have not subscribed. If you're new here, please do so. Thank you guys. Let's go on to the video. To reach our colliders with our code, you're going to have to open your Visual Studio. I'm going to create a new script. Go on our player, and we have player movement here, but I want us to create a new script. So add component, new script. We're going to name this PlayerCollision, then new script. Void start void. We're going to remove this. To get our colliders with our code, we're going to remove this, and we're going to say OnCollider, enter. We've used this before in our player movement script. If you watched that video, if you have not, link is in the description. So OnCollision, enter. So we're going to say if, that's an if condition, collision dot collider. Mind you, collision is the same thing that is here, so what you're writing here has to be the same thing that is here. If I change this to collisions and type collisions here, it's still going to work because this is the reference. So make sure whatever you write here is whatever is there. So collision dot collider dot tag. So we're going to check if our collider dot tag equals to obstacle. Yes. So remember, the tag is always going to be in quotations. So this code is checking if our player hits an object with the tag obstacle. So if it did this, we're going to say print I hit an obstacle. It's going to print this in our console in Unity. So that is it. Why is this giving an error? So we're going to save this. Once we save it, go back to our Unity. Now we're back in our Unity. We're going to go to our console. This is where the console is. So go to your console. When we click our console, it's empty. So when we press play, it's going to check if we have collided with an obstacle. We just collided, so it should print. Oh, it's not printing. Oh, I forgot. We did not make a tag for obstacle. So go to the cube that you want to be the obstacle. That's the black cube here. So we press the black cube. Then scroll up, change. As you can see, the tag is untagged. So we're going to create, first of all, we're going to create a, because there's no tag for obstacle. We're going to add a tag. And we're going to name it obstacle, OBST. CLE, obstacle. Save. So now if we click our cube once more and want to add a tag, we're going to see obstacle. So if this is obstacle, once we hit it, it should print that we have hit. So I hit an obstacle, so yay, it's working. Let's try it again. Great. So with this, our collision is working. So we can do plenty things with this collision. We can say once our player hits the obstacle, our player should like explode up, like go upwards. Yeah, so go up to the sky. Yeah, let's do that instead. We're going to go to our code on collision with obstacle. To get our player, we're going to link our player movement script to our PlayerCollision script. To do that, we're going to say public player movement. Make sure your player movement is the same as the name of your player movement script. Small p. So we're going to name this movement. So this is the player movement script. So I can say movement. Okay, after doing the player movement script, we're going to go to our method. We're going to say movement that's refreshing the player movement script. Then once we click dot, what do we want to achieve? We want to get the rigid body of the player. And in our collision script, the rigid body is not here, but the rigid body is in the player movement script, and we named it as RB. So if we come here and type movement.rb, it's going to recognize it. So yes, let's keep on going. Movement.rb. We're going to add force. Okay, crazy. Add force. What kind of force? Vector 3, because it's a 3D game. Yeah, vector the up. Yes, that's the first we're going to add. Yes, like so that once we hit, it's going to blast the player upward. Let's create a private float. Say explode. We're going to give this say 400. So times 400 times delta. So when we hit the obstacle, it should kick us upward. So let's see. That sounds like a power up. Yeah, it's more like a power up. Yeah, as you can see in our player collision script, it's asking us for the player movement, and the player movement is here. So if you should click this and drag it to here, it's going to answer. So that's how we have linked our two scripts. So if you should click play and we should hit the obstacle, we're going to fly up. What? It did not work. It took. What's wrong? What's wrong? Okay, let's check our code. Movement.rb. Yes, the rigid body. The add force. Okay, let's do this instead. Maybe the force was too low. The time the delta. Let's do the old-fashioned way. We're not going to add anything to the x-axis, but we want to go 400 up, and we want to add nothing to the z-axis. So let's try this out. Let's increase it to look more like a power up instead. Let's say 800. Yeah, that sounds scary. 800 F. So we're going to type in explode here, because explode is 800, as you can see here. So add force this. So once we click play and we hit the cube, it's going to make us fly up. So yeah, so that's how to use your collider and script up something to work with your game. So but for the meantime, what we're going to do is, once we hit the obstacle, it should turn off our player movement. That it should cut off our player movement, meaning if a player was moving forward or any direction, once we hit an obstacle, it means like we are dead, like we can't move anymore. So for that to happen, we just literally need to off the movement script, like off all the code. So you can just say movement. For script, so off script is more like disabling the script. So to do that, you type the script's reference name. So movement.enabled is equals to false, meaning it's not going to enable the script. Once we hit it, it's going to disable it. Let's check if this is working. We don't need this anymore because we're done with exploding. So if we go to Unity and click play, once we collide with this, it's going to disable. This check mark is going to go. So once we hit, it has disabled the player movement and we can't move anymore. I'm trying to move left and right, I can't move. So as you can see, that's the end of your life in the game. So once you collide, you can't move anymore. So let's add more obstacles and see if that's working. So we have turned on the other cube, as you can see here, and we're going to add the tag. Never forget to add the tag and name it obstacle. So now if I hit that one too, I won't be able to move anymore. So let's test that out. If I hit, I can't move anymore, and worst case, I even fell. If you notice, when we fall, we have to stop the game and run it again before we come back, but we can add a simple code to make it manually restart once we fall. We can do that with our player movement. So go to our player movement. So we can say in the update method, if the rigid body of our player That's the rigid body dot transform dot position. That's y. So let me explain this. Rigid body of a player, that's the player itself. It's transform, that's its position in transform. So transform the position dot which position is it, x, y, or z? Y. That's if you're flying or you're falling. So we're going to check if this is less than 2, it should restart the game. So if we are falling, meaning we are reducing, sorry, this is going to be -2 because we're going down the y-axis. So if we're falling and we're falling less than, let's say, -3 here, it should restart the game. So how do we restart the game? We're going to call on scene management using unity.scene management. We're going to type this up here. So it will import the scene management scripts and classes. So we can see scene manager dot load scene, then scene manager again dot get active scene, double brackets, dot build index. So it's going to call on the scene manager and it's going to load the scene again. That means restarting the game. Restarting the game means reloading the scene. So which scene are we reloading? Scene manager that will get active scene. Active scene means it's going to get the scene that it's running on, like this current scene that the player is looking at, and it's going to get the build index in an integer form. And in an integer form, it's going to reference it back to the load scene, because the load scene is normally written as this. So you put an integer in here, don't mind this, just put an integer in here. It's going to load the scene of the build index. So that's it. So it's going to reload the scene. This should be working. So it's going to be checking on the updates as long as the game is running. Remember the update method. So if it's lower than -3, it's going to restart the game. Let's check this is working. Okay, if I should click play and I fall, my game restarts. I fall, my game restarts. I fall, my game restarts. So one last tweak. There's a link in the description to download this folder, shapes folder. So once you double tap the shapes folder, you see different types of shapes, hexagons, and all these lots. So once you download this folder, drag it and drop it in your assets. Once it is in your assets, you come to player, and then we can change the mesh of our player. So instead of using sphere, because Unity only gives us sphere, as you can see 3D objects, we only have cube, sphere, capsule, cylinder, but we need something that can show us rotation. So because rotation obviously look cool, because now if we play, we can't see that sphere is actually rotating, it's just still playing. So we need to add this shape. So we're going to go to our player, change the mesh. So we come here, mesh, then we can see everything that is at the folder here. So we can come here and pick any of these. So I'll pick this one because it has plenty sides, so we can see the rotation and it's reflecting a little bit. So cancel. As you can see, double tap on player, it has rough side. So if I should play now, we can see its rotation. Let me increase this. Okay, then we're going to change the ground to it to be like our game. Okay, that's the last tweak. So if I should play this, we can feel the rotation, and that looks cool, trust me. Yeah, that's cool. Jump, drop, jump, drop, jump, drop. If I should fall, my game starts. Cool, bro. And that's the end of this video. If you're liking the tweaks I'm adding, please say so in the comments. I love adding tweaks for you to know more things about Unity. And if you're wondering where the build index was, if you press file and press build settings, this is the build index. So that means the sample scene has the build index of 0. So our code was literally running the 0 scene. So if we should come to our code, sorry, I just wanted to add this because I need you guys to know more. If I should remove this and type in 0 here, when I fall, it's going to reload the 0th scene, and the 0th scene is the sample scene, the scene that we are on. So if I should play this and fall, game will start because it's still the 0th scene. So still works, guys. So thank you very much for watching this video. That's how our collision works. That's how we can link our code with our collision and make stuff with it. So thanks for watching, guys. See you later. It's shout out time. So normally shout out to Lota, shout out to Yutsi, shout out to Nora, shout out to, I can't pronounce this guy's name, but thanks you for subscribing. So that's all, guys. Later.